Buy cheap and safe NBA 2K22 MT at NBA2King.com. You can use code Excapar, that's EXCAPAR, for 5% off your entire purchase. Alright, what is good, everybody? Obviously, you know what we are doing. Hey, best point guards tier list. Up, you're excited, that like button down below. And if anything sounds a little bit different, it's because we're using a new mic out here, which is pretty damn cool. Christmas was nice. So yeah, we're just gonna go through. We obviously have our same tiers that we always do. Demons, baby demon, pretty damn solid, still decent, and the hard pass tier. So it's just gonna be a fun time. We're gonna rank all of these guys. Obviously, shooting guards will probably come tomorrow, and we'll just keep going until we get to the centers. Alright, anyway, here we go. Obviously, we always show off the hard pass here first. We'll just do that nice and easy, with our first entrance being Ruby Andre Miller. Guy's actually pretty cool. I won't say that he's like terrible. I just don't think that you should really be using any of these guys in this bottom tier like at all. Seth Curry, one of the OG goats of my team, was really fun to have him like in the beginning of the game. But it's not really my cup of tea anymore, you know. He doesn't really hit the same. Day one god though. Next up is Ruby Kobe White. He's a card that I think a lot of people like really had a fun like with, but I don't know. He's not really for me. I don't know. I just never really was a massive fan of him when I used him. Like the jumper just kind of didn't really hit for me. It just was like meh. For me personally, but you know, if you still love this Ruby Kobe White, you know, more power to you. Next up is Reggie Jackson, and I'm gonna be honest, this card is just this card is so bad. He's the same jumper as Penny Hardaway in Jump Shot 10. It just doesn't really hit. It's not fast at all. It's just not like one that I really want to use like at all. So yeah, that's gonna have to be an L. Next up is my man Nate McMillan. Literally only has playmaking and defensive badges. like literally that is it. His inside scoring is actually kind of terrible. I think he can shoot a little bit, but just in general, it's just not my guy. I don't even know if we can actually get this guy yet, because I've seen that we had this drop of like cards, and I don't think you can actually get like any of the cards in there. But either way, Nate McMillan is cool. But if you only want to play making a defensive PG, there still are better options than this guy here. Next up, Leandro Barbosa, one of the most cursed jumpers in the entire game. Like that's not, that thing is just is bad, man. Really no reason to use him. Jason Williams really cool, but the one thing that Jason Williams is like known for nowadays is just the fact that the dude was saucy, man. Like he was throwing flashy passes, dribbling, doing all this crazy stuff, and they gave the man the base dribble style. Like 2K, how in the world does that make sense? Either way, I don't get it, but here we are. Next up is my man Jalen Suggs, who I think is really good, but just, I don't know, mainly for the offensive kind of ability that he has. Not really locking anything up with Jalen Suggs. He's a fun card. He's a really good card, especially for a Sapphire, but I'm going to have to put him in the hard pass in the channel screen of things. And next up is my man Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero. Brought a gun to the locker room and has one of the worst jumpers in the game. So yeah. And then last but not least, my man Spencer Dinwiddie. Like the only thing saving Spencer Dinwiddie is the fact that he's 6'6", and that you can kind of pup some of the shorter guys. But in general, there's not really a reason to use him. So you just got to hold that out. And yeah, that actually finishes off our hard pass here, obviously. We can actually, I'll show you guys a still decent tier as well, because you know what? Why not? And here it is. We got my man Ruby Derrick Rose, who I actually wasn't a fan of until I used him, you know, over at my parents' house unlimited for the weekend, trying to get my ring in a few games while everybody was sleeping. And dude, this Derrick Rose is shifty. He is stupid quick. He can really kind of use the speed bursting to his advantage still, and it was actually really nice. Used him off my bench, and he was a great card. So, you know, go Ruby Derrick Rose. Just doesn't really have the greatest defense. On the opposite end is my man Davion Mitchell, who has the base dribble style, but is still so quick that you can kind of get around it and kind of ignore that fact. But still a really fun card, a really good card. And it just sucks that he has a base dribble style. But he still has one of the quickest jumpers in the game, so you still have to kind of give him his dubs for that. Next up is my man Dave Bing, again, one of the most cursed jumpers in the game, but he still is damn shifty when it comes to like his playmaking and stuff like that, so I have to give him his dubs for that. He's not in the bottom of bottom, but he needs a better jumper. Next up is my guy Walt Frazier, who again needs a better jumper, probably one of the slowest in the game. He does have some pretty good defense, but I just think his time is done. He used to be good because you could play defense with him, but yeah, it's not really a purpose anymore. Next up is my man Patty Williams, who is just great because he has base 98 and can just shoot the hell out of it with that. No defense, not the greatest at finishing, obviously, like no dunking, but he still is a damn good card. So you know what, you got to give him his dubs at least for that bit. So, go him. Next up, my guy Kyrie Irving. Obviously, we got to know what Kyrie does. The dude gets buckets, but just doesn't really play defense. And, that's not really that bad of a thing. I'll take it. I do like Kyrie's jumper. It's definitely better than it was, like, last year and things like that. Just, obviously with very little defense, I have to put him down here. And same thing with this Brandon Jennings. I don't know. I think one of the most disappointing things of all the 2K drops this year was the fact that Brandon Jennings didn't get any good dribbling. I don't know why, but they gave him just a terrible dribble style and just didn't really give him anything that's like, super crazy, which to me is just upsetting because I think Brandon Jennings would have been really fun with. I actually really like his jumper. I've seen some people that have said they don't really mess with it too much, but I actually really, really like it, and I've been able to cook with it a bit. So maybe that's just me, but the dude doesn't have defense, so next up is my man Kevin Johnson, a card who I actually started doing a gameplay with, but was so trash when I actually went to use him that I don't think I ended up posting it. Like, I rage quit the gameplay because he was so bad. So fun fact about that, recorded a whole Kevin Johnson gameplay, but I was so mad that I didn't even want to open up the editing software and edit it. So yeah, there's that. So card's not great, but he's still a pink diamond and still can play good, so I'm gonna have to leave him there. In the still decent. Next up is my man Jason Kidd, who obviously we kind of know what Jason Kidd does. The guy is all around an amazing card, but the jumper is just so bad and so baited that there's just not really a reason to use him above any other card right now. Next up is my guy Jalen Brunson, who is just, I don't know, just average. Just average. I guess I'll have to give him that. It just doesn't have great defense either, though. And last but not least, it's this Isaiah Thomas, who's basically the diamond Isaiah Thomas, just without how shifty and quick he is at getting to the basket and dunking on everybody's head. Like, has a 45 dunk on this one compared to the other one's like 95 or something like that. Crazy, and you'd be surprised how much of a difference that makes. And now we start off with our pretty damn solid tier, which has our man Dennis Schroeder, who I think has the Charles Oakley jumper or something like that. And that's obviously not a dub. That's not what we're looking for, but still in the same cadence. He's actually pretty decent on the offensive end. Aside from that, can't really dunk, but has some okay defense. So, go Dennis Schroeder. Next up is my guy Cole Anthony, who has the Paul Pierce jumper, which is kind of interesting. I think he had one of the better ones last year. I forget what it was. And then we go to Paul Pierce. So, that's weird, but has some really good dribbling animations. It can really get shifty. It can be a pretty fun, pretty great card. So I got to give him his W's for that. Just obviously not too great a defense, but he's hooping this year, so we'll give him that dub. Next up is my guy CP3, Chris Paul, just an absolute dub. Again, Chris Paul has a decent jumper this year. It is definitely a bit slow, but he can play make, he can play defense. The only thing he can't really do is dunk. So Chris Paul kind of got it. And next up is Bob Cousy, who is basically just like the Chris Paul that's white, essentially. They have the same jumper, almost the same dribble animations. Like, the only thing that's different is I think this Chris Paul has a few more badges, which is cool. Next up is my man Russell Westbrook, who is great at getting to the basket and playmaking. Just can't really shoot with them because the jumper's baited and the defense is like Bronx clamps, so it's just nothing crazy. But he's still a good card. Next up is my man Ricky Rubio, has actually a pretty good jumper and is one of those cards who's just slept on because he has the slasher dribble style as a point guard, but is still a really good PG all around. He's got good defense. He playmakes really well. The dude can shoot like a demon. He's just not like a crazy finisher, and he's not going to be crazy when it comes to dribbling because of that slasher dribble style, but he's still an all-around solid damn PG. Next up is my guy Pistol Pete, right on the jump shot base, shifty dribble style. I mean, it can only go so many ways. We're talking about getting buckets, and Pete Maravich gets the buckets. I mean, ooh, it's nice. So all around, Pete Maravich is just a god. And then you play defense with him, you're like, damn, he kind of sucks. So, there's that. Pete Maravich is a super fun card to use. We just need one, obviously, that has some defense. Next up is my man Nate Archibald. Just imagine if you took PG, put him in that Magic School Bus shrinking thing, and then you got Nate Archibald, essentially, with a slightly better dribble style, which is kind of cool. But Nate Archibald is fun, just nothing really when it comes to dunking. Got that PG base, is shifty, he's fun. But yeah, a little short, a little short. Next up is my man John Stockton, who is actually an amazing card, but just something about his John Stockton dribble style that just sucks. It gives you a few just, I don't know, weird animations when you're trying to dribble around and do something crazy. And it's just not too fun. I don't know what it is, but you actually use this Johnny Boy card. It's just, yeah, it's not the greatest of times. Next up is my man Jason Terry, jump shot 22, and it's just a shifty dude with that Hall of Fame quick first step. Feels super nice, just doesn't come with clamps, so I put him down into the pretty damn solid tier. But I think offensive wise, the dude is an absolute demon. Next up is my man Eric Snow, just basically a 3-and-D point guard, because that's what his glitch was, I think, was shooting. As jump shot 28, super smooth, super consistent jumper. You know it if you've used Wang Chi, is a great jumper. And he's actually a pretty decent playmaker too. Same dribble style as Ricky Rubio with Slasher. Just a fun card, and when it comes to budget beast, Eric Snow is definitely up there. And last but not least is my man Devin Harris, who I honestly can't tell you any time that I have ever seen somebody pull out Devin Harris like in 2K. And that's nothing against Devin Harris. He's actually a good card. He's 6'3", 6'6" wingspan. Dude has Hall of Fame, quick first step, downhill, unpluckable, and slithery. Has silver clamps, has some good shooting. Doesn't really have dunking, but has a 97 speed and has that Serge Ibaka jump shot 26. Stupid quick jumper, even though it's on the normal timing. Like, the guy's actually a god. I cannot tell you any time that I've ever seen somebody use this card, which is kind of wild because he's nice. But that does wrap up our pretty damn solid tier. We can move on to the baby demons, which starts with our man DeJounte Murray. Obviously, with DeJounte Murray, dude's got defense, and that really saves him for a while of a lot of stuff. He's got a good jumper, although it's slow, but very easy to green because of that. Has good playmaking, actually a pretty solid finisher as well, and for some reason I just struggle stopping him from getting the basket. But the main thing you love Murray for, defense. Dude's got defense. Next up is my man Alex Caruso. Again, what you know our man's Alex Caruso for is that defense, the lockdown defense. And he does it damn good. Like, damn good. Caruso is actually just an all-around really solid card. I think he came out in that maxed out set, which was actually, it was an all-right set. I won't say it's amazing, but it was an alright set. Caruso, 6'4", 6'5" wingspan, and just has the best of everything, really. Like, can dunk, can shoot, can play make, and can play defense, but definitely with that Hall of Fame interceptor, he's a god on the defensive end. I mean, let's be honest. Next up is my man Tyrese Maxey. Again, one of those best of everything kind of PGs at the amethyst. The only thing that kind of sucks about Tyrese Maxey, despite having great dribbling, is his jumper is, again, one of those slow, kind of medium speed jumpers that you can definitely shoot well with. You just have to pick your poison a little bit more when you get open. And speaking of the opposite end of that is Trae Young, who is open whenever the hell you want him to be. That Trae Young jumper on quick is one of the fastest jumpers that we have in the game right now, and still has amazing defense, great playmaking, good finishing aside from the dunking, obviously, because, I mean, it's Trae Young. I've never seen him throw down a dunk. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. But he does have the slash dribble style. It's a really fun card. It's all around Trae Young. Dude's a beast. Next up is my man Stevie Nash, who is probably one of the most slept on cards in the game right now. Like, people just aren't hyped about a Steve Nash card, and I get it, like, that makes sense. But Steve Nash, 6'3", 6'6" wingspan, Hall of Fame catch and shoot limitless, mismatch, sniper, bullet passer, dimer, needle threader, floor general, unblockable. Like, dude, that is crazy. And then they gave him clamps, quick first step, and all that crazy stuff. Steve Nash is one of the best shooters in the game, and still is super shifty. He can play some pretty solid defense as well. Don't sleep on his Stevie Nash. And next up is another Stevie with Stevie Francis, Stevie Wonders. I don't know why I've been calling him that, but you know, it works. I think everybody kind of knows about this Steve Francis because he was a free card that was really easy to get. I mean, has one of the more easy to time jumpers in the game, has some of the best dribbling in the game. You just have to add clamps to him, and boom, he's a god. Next up is my man Steph Curry, who is saved by the fact that he's got the Curry slide and the Curry jumper on quick. Like, the Curry cards this year just literally do not miss. Obviously, the defense, the finishing, and stuff like that is a little bit weak, but who cares when you can just shoot your lights out. Next up is the first, I guess, super tall PG that was crazy OP in Penny Hardaway. Doesn't have clamps, which is, I guess, the way that they nerfed him, but has great finishing. He's an alright shooter. He can play make with the best of them. Essentially, if you just kind of let them blow by you and they go for chase down dunks, this Penny Hardaway is one of the most annoying point guards to go against. But obviously, the fact that he doesn't have clamps makes him a little weak on the perimeter. But I've still been locked up by him quite a few times. Next up is the short king, Mike Conley. Jump shot 22, great dribbling, awesome defense, just a great all-around amethyst card. If he was, like, let's say 6'4", 6'5", we'd be talking about this Mike Conley like he was one of the best PGs in the game. Like, let's not cap. This dude is solid. He's just short, which makes him pretty easy to block and contest. Next up is my man Diamond Isaiah Thomas. Just imagine this Isaiah Thomas just insanely better, essentially. I think most of us have probably used this Isaiah Thomas at some point in the game. Quick dribble style, can get crazy. Jump shot 14, super easy to time, has great defense, and the dunking on this guy is just crazy. One of the OG, like, stupid quick PGs that can just run in and dunk at everybody, and it was fun. And last but not least is my man John Morant, who's essentially a Steve Francis with slightly worse shooting, but a lot better finishing. Like, a lot better finishing. This John Morant does not get stopped going to the paint. Just, again, need to add some defense with both these cards, like clamps, pick dodge, or things like that, and they become gods. And finishing off, we have our Demons tier with De'Aaron Fox. This guy was a god. I remember the first time I put on my PGs list or something like that, De'Aaron Fox decided to drop like an hour later when I was not expecting it. And yeah, that's a little upsetting. But yeah, this De'Aaron Fox is a god. Like, the dude is a god. De'Aaron Fox is a 6'3", 6'6" wingspan guy. Again, you got to take Paul George, put him in the Magic School Bus, you know, shrinking machine, and then boom, he's down to, yeah, that 6'3", but has that Paul George base, the quick dribble style. The De'Aaron Fox dribbling is kind of crazy. Has a great defense, Hall of Fame downhill and quick first step with a 97 speed. It is just crazy what this De'Aaron Fox can do. And once you get used to that PG jumper, one of the best point guards in the game. Next up is my man Damian Lillard, who I just view as like Steve Francis and John Morant, just better. Now, I know some people might disagree with that, call it blasphemous, but I don't really care. I'll be honest, I don't really care. I got this Damian Lillard, threw on clamps on him, which is really all you need to do to make him crazy, but I think I gave mine clamps, menace, and ankle braces, I think, something like that, and I'm going to give him interceptor and intimidator whenever I can. And then once you do that, this Damian Lillard is one of the best cards in the game. He has Hall of Fame, catch and shoot, deadeye, hot zone hunter, limitless spot up, and hyperdrive. Like, come on. 97 driving dunk, and amazing threes. And once you give him that clamp, he can shoot the lights out. The Lillard jumper on quick is crazy. He's got great dribbling. Like, this dude is easily one of the best offensive cards in the game, and it is so hard to stop him, and it's so easy to score with him. Love this card. Next up is my man Allen Iverson, who had like the best point guard in the game role for like, what, not even a week, and then got dethroned. But 6', 6'3" wingspan, and has, I think, still either the most or the second most Hall of Fame badges on a base card in the game. You know, Hall of Fame fast switch, giant slayer, celery, mismatch, sniper, ankle breaker, downhill, quick first step, clamps, pickpocket as well. It's kind of crazy. Has a 90 driving dunk, 98's in the speed, 90's in the defense, has a trade break jumper on quick, and amazing dribble style with great dribbling animations. The only thing that sucks on Allen Iverson is that Kyrie Irving layup package, but you can get around it. The dude's a god. And next up is a guy who dethroned him as the best PG in the game in Galaxy Opal Steph Curry. If I'm being honest, I probably could have made a whole like separate tier for Allen Iverson and Steph Curry because they're really like the top two PGs in the game. But let's be honest, I think we all know at this point that Steph is that guy. Like, he's that guy. 6'3" with a 6'3" wingspan, and the dude just has so many good badges. And they decided to give him the 90 perimeter defense with gold clamps. The only thing that they nerfed him on is the fact that he's a 70 driving dunk, but they gave him a 80 driving dunk tendency. So give him a +4 in that driving dunk and give him that perimeter centric coach boost, and he's a 79 driving, give him the posterizer, and then boom, it doesn't matter because on top of that, he's got chef, catch and shoot, blinders, deadeye, limitless spot up, sniper, mismatch expert, all on Hall of Fame, along with quick chain. Steph Curry's the best PG in the game. Next up is my guy Magic Johnson, who I did use. I threw on Hall of Fame clamps and was just going dummy with my man Magic, and he was actually really fun. Obviously, we love Magic because he's a 6'9" point guard, but they did do something this year where it makes, you know, those taller PGs just feel a little bit slower. Even though he can speed burst, he just feels slower when he does it, which is actually awesome to see. It kind of nerfed Magic, but I was still able to win pretty consistently with him. And if you get matched up against an undersized guy, just call it a day. Magic's, you know, posting him up every single time and just going crazy. But I will say Magic doesn't feel as OP as it used to be, but he's still one of the best point guards in the game. And next up is my man John Wall, cursed by the base dribble style, but everything else about his game is crazy. One of the best dunkers you can find in the game. He is an amazing shooter, has great defense, his playmaking is great. He just doesn't feel that as amazing as he could because he's got the base dribble style. But watch out, because when we get like an oval wall that has like the quick dribble style or the shifty, something like that, he's going dummy. And last but not least is my man Gary Payton, jump shot 40, shifty dribble style. And we all know it by now. This Gary Payton is one of the best defenders in the game. I mean, if you are in any sort of sweat lobby, you will see this Gary Payton on the lineup, just locking everything up. Still one of the best PGs in the game. And honestly, if I had to say, probably the best defensive point guard in the game, next to maybe Magic because he's so tall. It is crazy. And yeah. Oh yeah. Also, add clamps to Magic, and he's a god. Anyway, that wraps it up for our best point guard steals. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section below. Obviously, the shooting guards is coming tomorrow. We got a lot of good PG options. There's some great budget guys, some things like that. So let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments. Again, like the video if you guys did enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new. We are on that road to 15K subscribers. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next